Hey guys, so since I didn't include a video going over the notes, I thought I would do a video of me going over the first three homework problems for 4-7. Okay, so 4-7, still dealing with factoring, right? But 4-7 is all about factoring out greatest common factors before we start the factoring process. So if there's something that we can divide all of our terms by, then we can pull that out of our trinomial and factor that out before we factor the two binomials out. I'll show you what I mean. So let's take a look at number one. Number one is 3a squared minus 15a plus 12. Well, each of these terms can all be divided by 3. So before I start my factoring, I'm going to go ahead and factor out the greatest common factor of all these terms, which is a 3. So when we take a 3 out of our first term, it leaves us with a squared. Take 3 out of our second term, it leaves us with 5a. And when we take a 3 out of our third term, it leaves us with 4. This is a lot easier to factor than this. This one we can just do in our head. Some factors of positive 4 that give us a negative 5. Well, that is a minus 4, a minus 1. Negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4, and negative 4 minus 1 is negative 5. So we did it. But this 3 stays with it, right? We factored that out, so it hangs with us at the end too. So this is our final answer. With the greatest common factor that we factored out at the beginning, this 3 hangs with us at the end and is included in our answer in front of our two binomials. Let's take a look at number 2. Number 2 is a little different because it's not just a number that we can factor out, it's also a variable. Each of these terms can be divided by 2. We can take a 2 out, but each of these terms can also be divided by our variable r. Let's see what happens when we take a 2r out of this trinomial. So here we go. 2r. Okay, when we divide our first term by 2r, that leaves us with r squared. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and r cubed divided by r is r squared. Now let's take out a 2r from our second term, 4r squared. So that leaves us with 2, and then just 1r, right? And then our last term, we take a 2r out of that 6r, and that leaves us with 3. 6 divided by 2 is 3, r divided by r is 1. So there we go. So then we can just factor this guy right here pretty easily. Some terms of factors of negative 2 that add, or I'm sorry, factors of negative 3 that when added together give us negative 2. This 2r is going to hang with us, right? So I'm just going to write that in front of our parentheses here. Here's my parentheses. I got an r and an r. I know I need a plus and a minus, right? Because this is negative, and I need a positive times a negative gives me a negative, so I need a plus and a minus. 3 and 1 are the only factors of 3, right? 3 is a prime number. So minus 3 and plus 1 give me negative 2. There we go. This is much easier to factor after we take out that greatest common factor, that 2r at the beginning. It's pretty much a dead giveaway when you see like a variable cubed up here, or you know, anything bigger than a squared. You're probably going to be taking a variable out when you factor out a greatest common factor. Let's take a look at number 3. Number 3 is pretty basic because we're just going to be taking a greatest common factor out. I'll show you what I mean. Look, we can take a 3x out of both of these, right? 3x. We take a 3x out of our first term, it leaves us with x squared. Take a 3x out of our second term, it leaves us with a 1. We get a difference of squares, don't we? And we know our trick there. X plus 1, x minus 1. There we go. And our greatest common factor that we factored out at the beginning hang with us in the end too. Here's our final answer. I think you guys can take it from there. It looks like number 6, we're going to be also factoring out a variable because we have a t cubed right there. Looks like we can take a t out of each of these. And then number 10, we've got a fourth, a third, and a squared. So instead of just a p, just 1 to the 1 power, it looks like we're going to be taking out a p squared when we factor that. All right, I think you guys can take it from here. If you have any more questions, let me know. Bye.